Hi, hello. We don't normally meet on my floor like this. I am almost done picking wool. I have this much left in my 1 pound. Been sitting here for the last like 2 hours. Kind of just want to go enjoy the sun outside. As soon as I finish this, that is exactly what I'm gonna go do. I also thought it would be a great time to start another project vlog or finish knits with me. One of them being the one that is right behind me. That is the La Miel tee that I've been working on. I finished it and blocked it. The thing is, I've still yet to try it on because I can't. It's just such an interesting way to work it up. I can try on the panels side by side, but they're not connected. It's not buttons or a traditional button band. It's panels that you sew up together, and then on top of that, we'll sew buttons. I didn't realize that till I got to the part of the pattern where you're supposed to work the button bands, and I was like, wait a minute, there's no buttonholes. I thought I was reading wrong, and I reread it like 4 times. They're fake buttons. So we're gonna go pick those up. I need to go to Dresso for that. 2 streets away, we're gonna go to Lendiscut, and I'm gonna pick up the Uma by Amano Surrey alpaca and mohair skein that I was missing to finish the button band for my Maggie cardigan by Petite Knit. So then I can finally knit that and also try it on. I do have those buttons, however, but I think that is what we're gonna be working on today. In case you're wondering, what I'm doing with the wool right now is called picking, so it's post-washing. I'm just opening up the locks, removing all of the little vegetable matters or little pieces of dirt that are still there, and just getting them ready to card. So it's kind of just turning a traditional little lock of wool like this. This one has a little bit of a crispy tip, so I just rub it with my nails and then floof it up, stuff kind of falls. And there you go. It's ready for the carder. And this is what 1 pound of picked wool looks like. Full tub. I mean, it's very like squishy. There are so many ends to weave in, from changing the skeins back and forth and just working on one side, figuring out the length, and then switching to the other side. I do have a little bit more work to do for this one. I still need to sew the button bands together at the front, or the front panels as they call them. I'm just not sure how deep of a V I'd want this tee to go. I'm expecting it to kind of fit more or less like this, maybe less cropped, but be like a baggy, more boxy shirt. Of course, the sleeves are really short. I did add, I think, 2 more rows of stockinette before working the eyelet, because it makes you just like knit a row of stockinette before working the eyelet row. So wanted a little bit of a longer sleeve, did that on both sides. And then the other modification I made, I've talked about this one, I think, in a Knits and Babbles or in another episode, but I skipped on the long rib at the bottom. I just did the eyelet, the same amount of rib rows that the sleeves and the collar and the button band have, because I thought that that would give it a more summery look, but at the same time, a more unified look. So this morning, we're gonna sew this on. I also did get a few things from Dresso. First off, I saw this beautiful cotton in the fabric roll end bin. It is a beautiful blue cotton, kind of like a, is this Giza cotton or like the waffle cotton or the crimp cotton? Usually this fabric is pretty expensive, so I got a good amount. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this just quite yet, but I could for sure make some type of like top of some sort maybe, or use this with something else. Definitely great for summer, and I love this shade of blue. I also got another cotton in a similar shade to a lot of fabrics that I have. Actually, this one's bigger. This was about $4. I can definitely do something with this. I just have been really into natural fibers lately, and that's all I've been kind of eyeing and picking up. So when I felt these two fabrics, I mean, the colors work together, but the texture of the cottons don't really. But when I felt these two in the bin, I knew immediately, like, they're coming home with me. Okay, turning a little bit into a show and tell, but I've been wanting to get a new pen to outline. I usually use heat pens that the ink disappears with heat. A Choco pen. I had never seen this before and I wanted to try it. I know there are some that are also with water, but I've heard stories about those where the ink will come back, especially the heat ones, when it gets really, really cold. Like if you put a piece of clothing in the freezer, your lines might come back. So I don't know. I saw this and I thought it could be really fun. I like the idea that it's rechargeable and it's supposed to be thin. Oh, interesting. It's like a little tiny wheel at the tip, and the wheel presses out the chalk. They sell cartridges of blue and white chalk. So we're gonna try this in my next sewing project. I have, oh, damn it. The next project I'm sewing is blue. Okay, should have thought about that. I then got a new set of blades because I have been cutting my fabric the wrong way, and I think I dulled out my blade. So we're just gonna start off with a new blade. So that's what I picked up from Dresso. And then finally, the most important thing, and the reason why I was there, the buttons. Let's take a closer look. So these are the buttons I decided to go with. They were 25 cents the button, and they're a little bit pearly. I really wanted like a pearly button, but it was actually really hard to find some that only have 2 buttonholes. In the design, she has buttons with 2 buttonholes, and I really like that look. A lot of the seashell pearls were 4-holed buttons. So these ones do have a little bit of a pinkish tint to them because they were in the pink section, but I think they're gonna work either way. I still can't believe this top doesn't have actual button bands, but it requires 14 buttons. Or maybe, oh, the back is taller. So maybe it's like 5 at the front. That's probably it. Okay, let's sew this and then I can finally try it on. I can't believe I've knit an entire tee and not tried it on. This is so scary.
Introduce new people to this craft because it's not a common craft. Well, excited about it because I think it's an exciting time to be a spinner.
All right, this is the first time I can actually try on my tee. I like it. I think it's really cute. This is what the back looks like. And keep in mind, it is reversible, so I can wear it like this or with the high neck at the front. The thing is, you can probably tell my front is crooked. I honestly have no idea why. I hope it is the fact that I blocked it without having, initially, this is the original front. It's just that I blocked it without those 2 pieces connected, and then something was just crooked and I pinned it down. Because I don't know why. It's much more apparent on this side that it is crooked. And I was trying to think about it. In order to do this on purpose, I would have had to work decreases on this side, increases on this side, but then increases on this side and then decreases on this side of the back, which makes no sense because who in their right mind would ever do that? Not on purpose. Like, it would have had to be done purposely. Follow the patterns and my stitch count lined up. So I really hope it's just the fact that I don't know how to block out a knit and not because I don't know how to knit. That would be awful. But on a more positive note, I think the buttons that I went with are super cute. They're like pearl-esque and I really like them, especially with these white pants. The pearls just kind of line all together. I'm gonna turn it back around because the crookedness is bothering me. This top is extremely lightweight. I think that this is gonna be perfect for this summer, end of spring. I don't know that I'm gonna wear this in like 30-degree weather, although it doesn't get that hot in Vancouver. It's so lightweight and so airy, and it barely feels like I'm wearing anything. But before I do soak it, I did want to talk about the yarn a little bit because this is what I used. It is from Cozy Posy Yarn Co. and this is the Fiber Blend Feather, which is 90% superwash merino and then 10% linen. I worked with this yarn for the very first time. It is a single ply 90% merino wool superwash. It doesn't feel superwash. I didn't get that like chalky, acrylic-y feeling that I find most superwash give. This one did not have that whatsoever. This is all that I have left from the 200-gram hanks that she sent over. I at first got a little bit scared that it was going to be too black on me, but I think definitely with these white high-rise like jeans from Muji, this is going to be probably how I wear it and style it this summer. This is the swatch that I brought to the button shop yesterday. You can see really well the almost black and why it has that name. There's like sections gray where the color didn't pick up as much. There's sections that are a little bit more saturated, and then with the little white strands of hair that are a little bit long and like really apparent to stick out. That's the linen in the yarn. I think that this is just a really cool concept and a really cool blend of a yarn. I've never worked with a single ply for any of my knits other than the Noro, like the really thick Aran weight single plied yarns. I was a little bit scared, like I said, that it was going to be too dark, but I think this color just works well for me, especially since it's not pitch black, like actually black. But even though these were the same dye lot, just because it's called almost black, I was scared that there would be some inconsistencies after knitting the swatch and seeing how some sections of the yarn just are a little bit more grayish and some a little bit more white and some a little bit more black. So I alternated skeins throughout this entire project. So every other row I would switch between the skeins. And then in order to make this match even closer, I really didn't need to do all of this work in the end because from the top to the bottom, the top looks the same. From the front to the back, the fabric looks all the same. I really didn't need to do this much work, but it's better to be safe than sorry, especially after messing up the project right before. This project is also worked up in a really interesting way. So you start off on the shoulder and you work the front and the back at the same time because you work up this entire piece till the armhole connection or armpit and then work the body up, finish off with the ribbing detail. And this pattern designer is a genius and tries to make you knit this knit without breaking so many ends or having to weave in so many ends at the end. So when you do the bottom eyelets and the rib, you work it so that you finish at this side and then pick up for these eyelets and the button band. And then after that, you work and pick up for the front and then this, and then just work back and forth, back and forth. She was really thoughtful in her pattern. However, the way that I was working this pattern up, because I was alternating skein and I was really scared to then have two fabric pieces or two panels be different colors, I was working them up both at the same time. So that meant I kept getting confused between which one was the right side and which one was the left side. Thankfully, one of the front has the V and then the back has the high neck. But other than that, it was a lot of guessing. So when I came to the bottom, I just didn't know if this side was side number 1 or this side was side number 2. So that was my own confusion that I caused myself. But other than that, this pattern is very straightforward, very beginner friendly. It's written not holding your hand and not over explained. If there are any things that are a little bit confusing or hard to follow, she thoughtfully made videos for every single step. I didn't need to use the videos but it's nice to know that they're there if you're ever unsure about any steps or what you're supposed to do. There is a video linked in the pattern. At the same time, I believe she says that if you have any questions, you can always reach out to her, which is really nice. Not all pattern designers offer this much support and help. So this is a really nice top. I just really, really hope that I can straighten out that button band, because I can't wear it with the crooked button band. Yeah.
And she sees your teeny tiny apartment, one room, no closet space.
This discussion is now over.
But as long as you're in that apartment, you're gonna have a single bed. Don't you want the possibility of more? Come on, Luke. It's time. Make a move. Take us.
No, I was looking at Rory's books. I wanted to see if she had found.
While I'm applying my top coat to my nails, let's talk about the Maggie cardigan and where I messed up. In January, I went to Biscuit and I bought the initial blue base that I'm using in this cardigan. It is Patrick Knits, I think a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. And I remember buying the same dye lot. I no longer have the labels, but I'm pretty confident it was the same dye lot. But even with the matching dye lot, dyers always say to alternate skeins when you're working with hand-dyed yarns. Even commercial skeins aren't safe. I have friends who used some big yarn brands, and in the same dye lot there were very high discrepancies between the yarns. They say that you're supposed to alternate skeins as you knit. I never really did that before. I didn't do it this time either. I should have, and I didn't think about it. Ooh. Now we wait and dry. The dye is different. So the bottom of my sleeves and the bottom of my cardigan has a very distinctive dye. So what I did is I ripped back a couple rows in the lighter blue, and then I alternated skeins for those couple of sections to help the bleed so it's not one harsh line. I did that to the sleeves too, so it looks a little bit more intentional, and it kind of looks like there's like a gradient going on the sleeves and the body. When I finally got done with the entire body, I ran out of yarn for the little fuzz that I was using, which is Uma by Amano. It is 37% baby Suri alpaca, 37% super kid silk mohair, and then 26% mulberry silk. I really like this yarn. It is really soft and a nice alternative to just your traditional mohair. It gives your knit, because of the alpaca, like a different look. But I ran out of yarn. Thankfully, Biscuit has opened in Vancouver, so I went to the shop. They had the exact yarn, but not the exact colorway. So I had to order it through them, but because when I originally bought it, it was in January, they didn't have that dye lot anymore. So the one that I have here is a different dye lot. From my naked eye, just holding it, it looks the same. Holding it against the knit, it looks really, really close. But we'll see when I knit it up. Honestly, this entire video is me realizing that my knits are all messed up.
Put your lips on mine. I love it when we hide in the pale blue sky, floating on cloud nine. Do you feel the winds are turning round? 'Cause what goes up must always come back down. I'll be safe in your arms, like the light in the day never part. I'm looking down the line, with you by my side I'll be fine.
At the end of the day, all this tee needed was a really good block. This is what the back looks like. My button band is now on properly straight, which means I can actually wear this top. I did get a little bit scared that I would have to rip back the collar, the button bands, or the panels, and then get back to the bottom rib and rip all of that, because all of these steps were worked one on top of the other, and I just didn't want to have to redo all of that work after sewing on the buttons. And on top of that, these aren't even actually real button bands. They're just panels that you sew on top of one another and then sew the buttons on top of that. So there are no buttonholes, which is a little bit reassuring, because then these buttons are really small. There's so many of them. They can't open on either panels, the front or the back, so I can't get caught on anything and then just have the top fully open up. But it just really needed a good block. And I actually really like this top. I really do. This is probably how I'm gonna be wearing this with the V-neck at the front and the high neck at the back. It's just how I kind of prefer it, but I just like having the option depending on what pants or skirt I'm wearing. I'm so happy that I'm finally done my Maggie cardigan. This one has been a little bit of a struggle, you guys know. But honestly, the fact that the dye lot difference, it's more noticeable at the back. This sleeve is the most noticeable one, but even then, from afar, you can't tell. This one is barely noticeable, and the bottom too. I think I just stressed out for no reason. And the button band being a darker color, can you even tell? Unless like you really agonize and like stare at what I'm wearing while I'm wearing it, I don't think it really matters. And I do not think that this takes anything away from the final garment, from the final piece. I am actually gonna go wear it today. It's a windy, chilly day for May, which is perfect for this. I can wear it before storing it for winter. I was so scared that I wouldn't be able to get a good test run with this one. I'm gonna be so cute. In terms of pattern, this one, as petite knit, most patterns are written really well. It was very easy to follow. I didn't have any issues with it. It's a pretty straightforward pattern, and that's what I really liked about it. Simple, a t-shirt, high collar, lots of buttons. I love buttons. And I was also intrigued by this one because it's the first time I worked up a shoulder this way. It's just casting on stitches on both sides of the shoulder that gives you this very seamless, clean looking, almost store-bought quality, and it really doesn't look hand knit. And then it leads you into the shoulder cap increases, which is short rows, and then the full-on sleeve. That was what really kind of intrigued me and inspired me. I feel like a lot of knitwear lately has been constructed with this shoulder. Example, this t-shirt since then has the exact same set-in kind of shoulder. I really wanted to try that out, and I'm just so happy that I have this super clean, simple tee. A lot of my knits are not simple and have a lot of textures and colors. So I'm gonna go try this on, wear it out for the first time. And I wanna thank you so much for watching today's video. Please let me know in the comment section down below what you were working on while watching, what you're gonna be doing this weekend. Here it is, a long weekend while I'm filming. I think it's actually Victoria Day on Monday. I don't know, I'm just gonna take the day off. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely, beautiful day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.